Good grades ruin lives. Most of the time in our lives, we've been told that you should get good grades and you get into good school and then you get a good job and you get a good life. But is that necessarily true? You have to really think about what's the point of living. And who better to ask about the point of living than people who are dying? Because it is only when we're dying that we start really thinking about our lives. One of the top regrets of people who are dying, one of the top regrets is that they lived a life that was expected of them, what others expected of them, rather than what was true to themselves, a life that they wanted to lead. That all seems kind of long term. Let's try to bring it down to today. And how does good grades ruin your life today? So, as a student, you work very hard, you study very hard, and you try to get very good grades. But at the end of the day, when you take your exams at your O-levels, your A-levels, or whatever you have, and then you have to, based on that, make a choice for what to do next. What degree do you choose? What poly course, or do you go to JC? And you have to start making these decisions. So imagine you got grades like this. If you are taking your O-levels, you got good grades like this, you probably choose to go to JC instead of poly or even IT. If you got this for your A-levels, you might think to do business or medicine or law, courses which require you to get all A's to get into in the first place. Because everyone's going to tell you that it's a waste for you to choose something less than that. If you're interested in things like design or culinary arts, you're probably not going to pick that because everyone around you will say it's a waste of your good grades for you to get into those courses. But that's what I mean by prioritizing your grades first and your interests second or maybe last. And how does that ruin your life? You think about it, you're going to work for 30 to 40 years in a particular job you don't really like, and at the end of the day, you're going to kind of regret it that you lived so long and you didn't really enjoy that whole big part of your life. So put yourself in that position. You're in your 40s, you lost your job because you're not interested in it, and you have a family to feed, you have your children, and there are so many bills to pay, but you cannot bring yourself to get through that job. Can you imagine the amount of stress that you have to go through and the kind of situation you'll be in? That will really ruin your life. Okay, and sure, maybe that doesn't apply to you, but let me talk about another situation when your good grades don't imply that you'll be good at your job. No matter how well you do at school, everything that the school offers you will only give you the background knowledge to kind of understand what to do at work, but it's not going to help you do well at work at all. You'll be spending many years in school, and then you'll be going through textbooks like this, and you'll be reading all this and learning it and taking exams based on these subjects. And at the end of the day, you might do really well. But do you really expect to go to work and really have to make use of all of this knowledge? The reality is that you don't. Just ask anyone who's working around you, and you'll find that nobody brings their textbook, nobody brings their notes to work, and nobody refers to them constantly in order to perform at their jobs. A lot of what they do to excel at their work is learnt on the job itself. So your grades really have very little impact on how well you end up doing at the workplace. Many people who believe that they're excellent or they're very talented because they got good grades in school, they don't end up doing very well because they go in expecting that companies should respect them, companies should hire them because they got perfect grades. But that really doesn't mean anything in the real world. Work experience matters a lot. Actual practical skills matters a lot. And good grades alone don't show that. And it's not just your own life. Other people's lives are also ruined. How? So let's say you're a very passionate person, you're very passionate about healthcare and medicine because perhaps when you were young, you lost a dear family member to an illness or cancer. And you find that medicine is very important and you want to become a doctor to save lives because that has impacted your life. But somehow your grades were not really that good and you can't really get into the medicine school. On the other hand, you have a friend who got all A's, perfect grades, and he kind of doesn't really care whether he becomes a doctor or not, but because he can, he decides, okay, I'll be a doctor. How would you feel about that? Someone who doesn't really want to get into this particular field that you really want to get into, and somehow he got it instead of you. I think you deserve to get the job more because even though your grades are not good, you will likely become a good doctor because you had something in your life that really drives you to want to achieve, to want to make a difference in people's lives. as compared to perhaps this other friend of yours who just wants to do it so that he can pay the bills. So then how? Then what next? If you don't choose based on your grades or you don't focus on your grades so much, then what do you do next? You have to really start thinking about what is it you're interested in? What are you passionate about? Some of these things you might not be too sure about, but at least state them down. At least go find out. Start making a list. Don't think about grades. Don't think about prestige of the job. Don't think about income. Don't think about expectations that others might have of you. Just focus on what is it that you are interested in yourself. And come up with that list. Come up with a list of maybe 3 things. Think it to yourself. Maybe the first thing is something like cooking. Maybe the second thing is something like design. Maybe the last thing something like you enjoy art. So just come up with this list of 3 different things that you're interested in and just start researching and finding out about them and finding out how viable are they as careers and as things you can pursue. And if you're interested or if you want to know more, you can always drop a comment below. You can drop a comment and let us know what is it that you're interested in. And we can definitely reach out and share with you what we know and how we can help you with regards to those interests. By the way, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get good grades. Good grades are still worth working for because they give you more options. But don't just because you got good grades make silly choices after that. Similarly, if you get poor grades, it's not the end of the world because once you know what you are really interested in, you might still get what you want.